So the Jews in Israel thought everything was safe and secure. They were caught sleeping. They were caught literally with their pants down. Okay? So I'm going to go over a little bit of this in Matthew 24. And then I'm going to move to why they were caught with their pants down and what they are doing about it. Okay? Now, when the day, I will go through different scriptures to show you that we are entering into the days of the Son of Man. Okay? But of that day and hour knows no man, not even the messengers of Shemayim, the sky, but my Abba only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in those days they were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark, and knew not until the flood came. They weren't ready. Are you ready? Many of the Jews in Israel were not ready for what happened to them. They thought they were safe and secure. But they were naked. And took them all away, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Alright, so I'm going to go to 42. Watch therefore, because you do not know what hour your master does come, but know this, that if the master of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have done what? He would have been awake. Are you awake? This lesson in Israel is a lesson for you and me. Are you awake? And would not have allowed his house to be broken into. Be you therefore ready, for in such hour as you think not, the Son of Man comes. Now, I'm going a little bit further because there is something to be said about the current leaders of Israel today. It is because of them. It is because of the leaders of Israel today this happened. Who then is that faithful and wise servant whom his master made rule over his household, to give them meat in due season? Blessed is that servant when his master comes and shall find him doing that very thing. What is meat in due season? It's all kinds of things. It literally can be food. But when you say in due season, in other words, you are supplying the people with appropriate tools, food, whatever, at appropriate times, knowing what is about to happen. Is starvation about to happen? Provide the people with food. Is an attack upon the people about to happen? Supply them with weapons to protect themselves. I think I might have to go in the book of Esther, where the point was made, where Mordecai saw in advance that the Jews were about to be slaughtered. Blessed is that servant whom when his master, when he comes, shall find him so doing. Verily I say unto you, he shall make him ruler over all of his goods. But if that evil servant shall say in his heart, my master delays his coming, and shall begin to smite his fellow servants, and to eat and drink with the drunken, or even with the drunken goyim. The master of that servant will come in a day when he looks not for him, and in an hour when he is not aware of, and shall cut him asunder and appoint his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. I find it interesting, as leaders all around the world do this, not just Israel, so I'm not singling the leaders of Israel out as opposed to the leaders of the rest of the world. In my opinion, they are like the leaders of the rest of the world, which is not a good thing. You see, the leaders of the rest of the world, they appoint themselves guards, while in contrast, they disarm the public. Because they are more afraid of the people than they are of invasion. That's right. That's the reason why they do this. They are more afraid of the people than they are invasion. Why are they afraid of the people? Because the leaders are not righteous. They are oppressing the people. I do need to go to the book of Esther. See if I can find it. There we go. All right. All right, one more thing. One more time. It's advanced. All right. Once Haman was hanged, the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther, or Estare, the queen, and to Mordecai the Jew, Behold, I have given Estare the house of Haman, and him they have hanged upon the gallows, because he has laid his hands upon the Jews. Write you for the Jews, beautiful to the eye in the king's name. In other words, write unto the Jews beautiful writing in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. For the writing which is written in the king's name and sealed with the king's ring may no man reverse. Then were the king's scribes called at that time in the 3rd month, that is, the month of Sivan, on the 23rd day, and it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded unto the Jews, and to the lieutenants, and to the deputies, and the rulers of the provinces which are from India to Ethiopia, 127 provinces, unto every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, and to the Jews according to their writing, according to their language. And he wrote in the king Ahasuerus' name, and sealed it with the king's ring, and sent letters by post, by horseback, riders on mules, camels, and young mares, Ramok. When the king granted the Jews, which were in every city, to gather themselves together, and to stand for their life, and to destroy and to slay, and cause to perish all of the power of the people and province that would assault them. In other words, take up arms. But he did this in advance of an attack upon the Jews. Both the little ones and the women, to take the spoil of them for a prey, upon one day in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, namely upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar. The copy of the, and I find that interesting, by the way, Adar, 13th month of Adar, okay. Copy of the writing for a commandment was to be given in every province, and was published in all peoples, and the Jews should be ready against that day to avenge themselves upon their enemies. So the posts that rode the mules and camels went out and hastened and pressed on by the king's commandment, and their decree was given at Shushan the palace. All right. They foresaw a great evil and an extermination that was about to take place. But unfortunately, the Hellenish leaders of Israel today did not foresee a great slaughter that was about to take place. They were asleep. And they should be very concerned when the Moshiach comes to do what they did not do. And so now all of a sudden, just to prove my point, let me show you this, okay? So on YouTube, this fellow has a pro-Second Amendment YouTube channel. And he points out that Israeli gun ownership is low at about 2% of the population. That is unacceptable, and it might be unforgivable. I cannot make that claim that it is unforgivable because it is not for me to forgive or not forgive. It compares with about 30% of the population owning a gun in the U.S. Now, as you recall, a general in Japan, after Pearl Harbor, he said, I think it was, under every blade of grass, let me look that up. Okay, Yamamoto. He said, there would be a rifle behind each blade of grass, as is commonly the case with oft-repeated quotes. There is no evidence that Yamamoto ever said these words, but the meaning is clear. Well, he did say those words. Any attempt at invasion of the mainland U.S. by the Japanese in World War II would have been encountered with a staggering level of resistance. Why? Because there would be a rifle behind each blade of grass. And that is with a gun in the hands of 30% of the U.S. population. So why? Why? Oh, and look. It's going to make sense to you when I get to the next set of scriptures, folks. Okay? You see, I'll get there eventually, but I'm going to do a little, just for context here, okay? This Yol 3 begins the day of Jehovah's wrath. This is when he gathers all the Gentiles against Jerusalem. So the coming of the Son of Man is accompanied by gathering all the Gentiles against Jerusalem for one more fight. So, the leaders of Israel should know this is coming. They have advance notice. It is right here. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Why weren't the people of Israel armed? They were disarmed. There is going to be reckoning for this. But I want to continue with where I was going. Now, all of a sudden now, they are pressured to loosen restrictive gun laws amid Hamas war. It's a pity it came to this. Yes, it is a pity it came to this. On Fox News. And as you can see, they're going to have a day of rage today. You should have been armed. It never would have come to this. if they would have armed the public. Israeli citizens are urging the government to loosen the country's restrictive laws in the harrowing aftermath of the Hamas terror attack that massacred more than 1,200 Israelis and ignited a war in the region. Israeli residents are signing petitions. Are you serious? That Israeli citizens are forced to sign petitions demanding the government to allow them to take up personal arms? This is how the Gentiles treat their citizens. There is payback coming for this upon the leaders of Israel when Moshiach comes. What that payback is, I don't know, but you did read that little section in Matityahu a little while ago. And the Times of Israel reported, firearms licensing in Israel is a point of contention in the country and has been regarded as excessively stringent for civilians. This is called oppression. They have an oppressive government that bends at the will of Rome, United Nations, United States, Europe, and turn their backs on the population. We're sleeping at the switch when the thief came. Meanwhile, Iran. This isn't war news. Remember that this is a Greek publication, and the translation can be a little challenging at some times. Iran responds with tank deployment on Iraqi border. Green light to Hezbollah to engage. Hamas reinforced with 7,000 Shiites, and those Shiites are from Iraq. All right. So mass movements of units of the 92nd Armored Division of the Iranian Army has been observed for a few hours. T-72 tanks were spotted moving into Khuzestan province, which is located in the southwest of the country and borders Iraq and the Persian Gulf. At the same time, movements of Fateh 110 ballistic missiles were detected. Iran is on heightened alert, targeting U.S. and other bases in the Middle East region. They are threatening to target those bases. The Fateh 110 has a range of 300 kilometers. That's a little over 150 miles. And its third generation has improved accuracy. A while ago, the aircraft used by Iran's foreign minister landed at Beirut International Airport in Lebanon after taking off earlier from Baghdad, Iraq. There's a strong concern that Shiite militias are organizing a center established in Lebanon. And that goes right to Yoel 3 and Zechariah 9. The Iranian foreign minister stated if Israel does not stop its attacks on civilians in Gaza, the region will face new situations. Israel cannot impose a complete siege on Gaza, bombard civilians, commit war crimes without response. Oh, really? I have another scripture for you all. The continuation of crimes will receive a response from the rest of the Axis. The Zionist entity will be responsible for it. Okay. So, they say Israel cannot impose a complete siege on Gaza, bombard civilians, and commit war crimes without response. All right. I want to go to Numbers. No, not 17:1. What happened here? There it is. Numbers 24:17. All right. Get myself together here. Strong concordance. All right. Now, so Jehovah, not the Lord, but Jehovah. You see that? He tells Balaam, you do not do either good nor bad of your own mind, but what Jehovah says, that's what you speak. And now I walk unto my people to carry away, and I will advise, counsel you what this people shall do to your people in the latter days. Are you ready? Now, what is it? This latter days, that's correct, the after part. Now, I want you to please always remember that akarith word in Hebrew. It means in the after part. At the time of the end. Latter days is also good as well. And he took up his parable and said, Balaam the son of Beor is uttering, the man whose eyes are open has said, which heard the words of Ale, and knew the knowledge of the Most High, which saw the visions of Shaddai, falling into a trance but having his eyes open, to see, to behold, near, there shall come a star out of Yaakov, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and he will smite the side of Moab. The border of Moab will be broken. Where's Moab? Moab is always where Ammon is. That's Jordan. And he will uproot, to dig up, uproot all the children of Sheth. Now this says a son of Adam. Well, is he talking about a son of Adam? No. He's talking about a different Sheth. Let me show you who he's talking about. This is in Yoel. Yoel 3. Yes, okay, not what have you do with me, Tyre. It's just Tyre, or Zor, and Zidon. So that would be Lebanon. And the territories of Pelesheth, what people call today Palestine. Pelesheth, a territory in the South Mediterranean coast of Israel. It belongs to Israel. Are you going to pay me back for what I do? Because if you do, remember what's about to take place. Something is going to happen in Gaza. Now, the star, Yehoshua, the scepter, is going to uproot Pelesheth. But wait a minute. A recompense for what here? It's not mentioned. But what they're recompensing for. But if you are sharp, if you are intelligent, you know If you recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head. So the star of Jacob is going to recompense on their own head what they recompensed Israel for doing, or the Jews for doing. Now, how will he do this? He says he's going to return your recompense upon your own head. Why? Because you stole my silver and my gold. You carried away into your temples my pleasant things. The children also of Yehuda and of Jerusalem you have sold to the Greeks, to the Westerners, deported them, that you might remove them far from their border. I will raise them out of the place where you have sold them, and I will return your recompense upon your own head, and will sell your sons and daughters to the hand of the children of Yehuda. That is, by the Moshiach, Yehoshua, the star of Jacob. And they will sell them not to the Greeks, but to the Africans, the people you hate just as much as the Jews. You will be sold you will be deported to Africa, to a people far away, because Jehovah has spoken it. Proclaim ye now among the Gentiles, prepare war. Now Israel, now the Jews are going to have to prepare for war. Now they're going to be forced, the government, the oppressive Israeli government, is going to be forced to hand out weapons to the public. Wake up the mighty men and let the men of war draw near, and let them come. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, and let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come down, all you Gentiles, and gather yourselves together round about. Now cause your mighty ones to come down, Jehovah. That's when Jehovah's mighty ones are going to come down. Interesting, huh? Let the Gentiles be awakened and come to the valley of Jehovah judges, for there will I judge all the Gentiles around about. Put you in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for the wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of judgment. For the day of Jehovah is near in the valley of judgment. And at that time is a time when the sun and the moon is darkened, probably by all the nukes flying around. And the stars shall withdraw their shining, and Jehovah, not the Lord, Jehovah, that's the Abba, the Creator, shall roar in Zion and utter his voice in Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but Jehovah will then be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness, because of the violence against the children of Yehuda, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. So, since Europe and Russia have shed innocent Jewish blood in their land, they're going to receive the same judgment as Egypt. Their lands will be a desolation. Now, this guy, Hal Turner, he has gone full on ISIS. He's lost his mind. He's lost his mind a long time ago, but here is his bulletin. Israel informs United Nations to evacuate its staff and 1 million residents within 24 hours. And they have to go on the other side of the Wadi River. wherever that is. Okay? So as of 11 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S. time, so they have until 11 p.m. today, tonight, to evacuate. United Nations says it must evacuate staff to the southern part of Gaza Strip south of Wadi Gaza, and has informed the 1 million Palestinians, Pelesheth, that the evacuation area they have 24 hours to leave. They must all be south of Wadi within 24 hours. Now remember, the border of... Well, anyway, let's continue. On the map of the top, this is a story. The bright line box is the area that must be emptied. Everyone presently in that box must move to the south of that box. It appears that an Israeli ground invasion of the northern Gaza Strip will commence shortly after 24 hours from right now. So, here's what I'm saying. If Israel indeed empties out, because I just said that the Star of Israel is going to empty it out, but maybe not. Maybe this forcing the Israeli government to empty out Gaza is going to cause the great Yom 3 war that brings the day of wrath upon the Gentiles. I think we might have learned something today here. So, watch carefully, folks. Watch carefully, because if they uproot, if they force all of the Gaza out, if they force all the residents out of Gaza, out of this box right here, if they do that, that's going to trigger Yom 3. It's going to trigger this whole event. And what does this event trigger? This event triggers the day of Jehovah's wrath. You just read it right here. Right here. And who? Tyre and Zidon, that would be Hezbollah, Lebanon, and Pelesheth, the so-called Palestinians. This event is going to pull the trigger. In fact, it is very possible, folks, that Israel might have to launch nukes to defend themselves in this war. And of course, that would open the nuclear exchange, Pandora's box, as Russia views the United States or the Israel as like the 51st state of the United States. If Israel starts launching nukes to defend themselves, you can be certain that Russia will also start launching nukes. So are you ready? Are you ready for this? I hope you are. You better stay awake, because you don't know what's going to happen next. But I will say this. Watch what happens in Gaza. You see, the emptying out of Gaza is going to trigger the Great War. It does appear to be that's the case. Pay attention. Get ready. Have your suitcase packed. Some of y'all thought I was crazy last year when I said pack a suitcase. I don't seem so crazy now, do I?